In 218 BCE, Rome faced one of the most dangerous threats in its history, not from a distant frontier, but from a general who chose to bring the war directly into Roman territory. His name was Hannibal. Rather than confront Rome at sea or through conventional routes, Hannibal made a decision that redefined the scale of the conflict. He would lead his army from Iberia, across southern Gaul, and over the Alps into Italy, a path considered nearly impossible for a force of that size. The journey was brutal. Mountain passes, harsh weather, and constant resistance reduced his army. But the core of his force remained intact. When Hannibal descended into northern Italy, he had achieved something Rome had not anticipated. He had brought the war into the heart of its territory. Rome responded quickly, assembling armies to confront the threat, but the engagements that followed revealed a critical difference in leadership and strategy. Hannibal did not rely on numbers alone. He adapted. At the Trebia, he drew Roman forces into a disadvantageous position, using terrain and timing to overwhelm them. At Lake Trasimene, he executed one of the largest ambushes in military history, trapping a Roman army and destroying it before it could properly respond. These were not isolated victories. They demonstrated a pattern. Hannibal understood how Rome fought, and he used that understanding against it. The turning point came at Cannae. Rome assembled one of the largest armies it had ever fielded, confident that sheer size would finally end the threat. Hannibal faced this force with fewer troops, but with a plan that would define the battle. As the engagement began, his center gradually gave ground, drawing the Roman army inward. At the same time, his flanks held and then began to close in. What appeared to be a retreat was, in reality, a controlled movement. The Roman army advanced deeper into the formation. Then it was surrounded. From both sides and from the rear, Hannibal's forces closed the gap, trapping the Roman army in a confined space where numbers no longer mattered. What followed was not a typical defeat. It was destruction. Tens of thousands of Roman soldiers were lost in a single day. It was one of the worst defeats in Roman history. After Cannae, the path to Rome seemed open. Allies began to question their loyalty, and the balance of power shifted. Hannibal had achieved what no enemy had done before. He had repeatedly defeated Roman armies on their own land. But Rome did not collapse. Instead of risking another direct confrontation, it changed its approach. Roman commanders avoided large-scale battles, focusing instead on limiting Hannibal's ability to sustain his campaign. And time became a strategic tool. The war shifted from decisive battles to endurance. Hannibal remained in Italy for years, winning engagements but unable to force a final outcome. Without consistent reinforcements, his position became increasingly difficult to maintain. Rome, meanwhile, adapted. Under the leadership of Scipio Africanus, Roman forces carried the war into North Africa, forcing a new confrontation on a different front. Hannibal was recalled from Italy to defend Carthage itself. The final engagement came at Zama. There, the Roman army applied the lessons it had learned, adapting its tactics to counter Hannibal's strengths. The battle ended in a decisive Roman victory, bringing the war to a close. The Second Punic War had begun with an invasion that shocked Rome and pushed it to the brink of collapse. It ended with Rome stronger, more experienced, and more prepared for the conflicts that would follow.